Welcome to Food and Beverage Purchasing Doc. My name is Dennis. Today we're going to talk about a few products, but the concept basically of products that cost less if they're not sized. In other words, we're going to start with chicken, for instance. Let's say hypothetically, you're designing your menu and you're designing a particular plate. And there's a number of different ways, and everybody's an expert in saying, well, this is the way you got to do it, and so on. First, in my opinion anyway, when you decide what your market is, and let's say I'm putting together a chicken marsala with au gratin potatoes and haricot vert, green beans, blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, there's only so much the market that I'm going after based on the way my restaurant's laid out and so on is going to pay. So let's say technically I'm going for like a $12 to $13 entree. Okay, this isn't a high-end place necessarily, but it's a medium market, $12 to $14, $15 deal. So I'm trying to decide, all right, so now I get out my software and I start working on the portioning. So, center plate, you start, of course, with the protein to see how much and your targeted food cost, of course, and you got to decide what the portion should be. Well, even if the numbers work out that it's only 4-ounce chicken, you're in trouble because nobody's going to spend that kind of money for a 4-ounce piece of chicken. So let's say hypothetically you want to do a 6-ounce piece of chicken, let's start there. Let's just start with 6 ounce. So what do? You go and you look at your distributor, whether it's a fresh chicken supplier or your broadliner, and you look for a sized 6-ounce chicken breast, and it's X. Okay, well then you put that in your calculations and you move on and so on and you build your plate. Well, there's every product, I shouldn't say every, but man, for the most case, most products have a generic, and I don't mean from a quality standpoint, but a generic sized product or one that's not really hand-picked, and you can buy it cheaper. Like for instance, let's take chicken. Well, if we're talking about a fresh chicken breast, and again, we're talking about maybe not pumped, and again, if you want, take a look at our video called Tired of Getting Soaked, and it'll tell you about what pump is. But let's assume that it's a unpumped, fresh, God-made product. And because God made it, just like anything else, there are different sized chickens. So what does that mean? Well, when they take it down to the breast, there's different sized breasts. So if you start looking at breast sizes from between 4-ounce and 8-ounce, the size of the bird comes into play. And first of all, let's assume we're talking about single lobe in the context of 4-ounce, so that's a 8-ounce double lobe. And so God makes the animal. So it takes a processor. If you say I want a 6-ounce piece or a 4-ounce piece, excuse me, it takes the processor people and time and waste to create that size product for you. Well, some operators are willing, and what you're going to see in a second, to size it themselves. So here's off. We deal with Gordon. Gordon is our program supplier for ProBuy. That's a whole nother story. But now, first of all, you're going to see some prices. These prices are not real. Okay, I took the real prices and I amended them with some kind of formula. All right, so please don't take these prices. What I'm going for is to show that the price of a random product versus the price of a sized product. And the comparisons are actual and they're real, but the actual product prices started with are not. Okay, so here we are, and Gordon has a product that's a choice double lobe, natural random, fresh, vacuum packed product. It's a 4 10-pounder. So the case costs $43.12. Yeah. Which comes out to $1.08 a pound. because it's a 40-pound case. Okay, well, also they have Coke product, not Coke, C-O-K-E, Coke as in the Koch brothers, K-O-C-H. Basically, it used to be ConAgra. In any event, they have a chicken breast, boneless, skinless, double lobe, 8-ounce. So it's a size product, and it's really ready to go on the plate. Now that case is $93.31, but it's packed 316 count. And if you push out the weights, it comes out to a 24-pound case. So that's $3.88 per pound, but it's plate ready. No cleaning, no waste, no labor, no nada. You take it, you put it on the plate, and away you go. But if you push out the numbers, that's $2.80 a pound difference. That's 72.16% difference. Now, if you look at that, there's a heck of a lot of labor you can spend, and quite honestly, a good amount of trim that you could lose if you go ahead and put a knife to this. Now, one of the larger clubs I worked at years ago, there was a chef, and I know I'm going to insult you guys, and I don't mean to, but when I was dealing with 64 chefs as a regional, what I found was that sometimes it was more difficult to find chefs that were both as talented culinary-wise as they were managing the kitchen-wise. A lot of the best chefs made sure they hired the greatest sous chefs that were really good business people to help balance the load, so to speak. Okay, so when you're a restaurant operator, you're wearing both hats. Okay, so you're gonna not only want to offer the best unpumped product, but you want to have a nice plate presentation, but at the same time, there's no Red Cross on the side of your building. You want to make some money. So this particular chef at this large club happened to be one of those guys who really came with both hats. He was a great operator. Wasn't necessarily a concept one, which meant, you know, white tablecloth, white glove chef, but he knows his way around a kitchen also. So what he did was he took one of his lead kitchen people, not necessarily a sous chef, he kept him free, but he took one of his lead guys and taught him how he wanted this random product cut to eliminate as much waste as possible. And what he did was all the little pieces, and not little pieces, but you know, the short skinny piece or whatever, he would throw in a particular tub and put that with more larger pieces and marinate it himself for fajitas. So here it was, from a cost per ounce standpoint, maybe it wasn't at $1.08 a pound, but after true waste, he probably was still within the $1.20, $1.30 range, plus labor. So the amount of money he saved was just absolutely incredible. All I'm saying is, it may not be right for you, but understand there are random products out there that could save you a decent amount of money. Okay, next is, let's look at green beans. All right, well, in this slide, as you can see, again, it's both of these 6 number 10 can product. Again, I realize this isn't for a high-end restaurant necessarily. You know, canned green beans isn't necessarily what you're going to see on a white tablecloth. But for those middle market guys, I'll tell you again, I keep talking about Texas Roadhouse. Texas Roadhouse takes a canned green bean and they further doctor it with like bacon and a spice profile that is really tasty. Okay, it really is. But again, it is what it is. It's not like, you know, they're not going for the Ericovert, you know, sauteed in, you know, duck fat or anything like that. This is a real nice, you know, yoo-hoo kind of place. Okay. All right, so we got a 4-sieve Gordon Choice, meaning it's the same quality bean. It's not saying, it says fancy in both of these, but I believe it's a Blue Lake bean. Okay, now a 4-sieve means that the bean goes through a particular, almost like it sounds, a measuring or a metering process that separates the real narrow in circumference, so the thickness of the actual bead. And there's 2 sieve, 4 sieve, etc. Okay, so this one happens to be a 4 sieve product. And as you can see, for 6 number 10s, it's $45.18. Well, on the same page of their order guide, they offer a mixed sieve. Okay, and look at that. It's $33.98 a case. All right, so that's like 24.8% savings. I'm sorry I didn't do the math on the ounceage, but as you know, with a 6 number 10 cans between 100 and 110. In this particular case, like this, if it was a liquid product, it's almost always like around 110. But because it's, liquid and solid mass, it's hard to really get your arms around the ounceage. But you can use a thumbnail and say it's about 105 ounces for both, so you could do the math. It is an crazy amount of savings, okay? So again, am I saying a mixed sieve is right for you? No. But to me, if you were going to put this on a plate in the middle market, most customers, number one, I genuinely don't believe would care, okay? And number two, I don't even know that they'd notice, if you want the truth. But again, all I would suggest is when you're talking to your salesman, and you may open up this conversation in a number of different categories and tap into their expertise. Okay, the next one we're going to talk about is potatoes. Well, if you notice, we got the slide up there now for potatoes. Now, if you notice, first of all, these aren't like Colorado or, we're not mixing like qualities of potatoes. This is a number 1 Idaho Fresh well, if you notice, it even says Marcon. Now, Marcon is one of the largest produce cooperatives in the country. All the major players that don't actually buy their own fields use Marcon. Their quality control is just untouchable. It really is. And if you notice, the top 80 count says Marcon First Crop. What that means, that's the creme de la creme. You're buying the best product that they have. In regards to lettuce, for instance, even though they may source Arizona, let's say, and California, you'll never see an Arizona lettuce labeled Marcon First Crop. Okay, it could be still a Marcon product because it's quality, but the weight of the case and so on can be different, blah, blah, blah. Okay, in this case, this is a true 80 count sized 50-pound case of Idaho Fresh. And the cost there per lug is $20.90. Okay, but you take a number 2 Idaho Fresh russet. If you notice, everything's the same. Now, is it a number 2 as good as a number 1? No. But the differences are like blemishes. And you may see a few blemishes on the product. Again, with Marcon's quality, I don't believe it's going to be that much. But in this particular case, the sizes aren't going to be absolutely universal. The case may have mixtures of 60, 70, and 80 count product in it. All right, so to me, this is the product you buy for something that you got to put a knife to it. I did a consultant's gig for one of the largest steakhouses before they became large. They started here in Houston. And when they were still a 2, and I think they had 3 units here, I was talking to them about doing a purchasing consultant gig. And they say, yeah, you need to talk to my guy, blah, blah, blah. Okay, great. So I went, and this arrogant little guy came in, and I was sitting there. Now, while I was waiting for him, that's the other thing, he was 20 minutes late, how rude. But anyway, so I'm looking at his menu and so on, and looking at different things, and I'm trying to pick out questions I could ask to get a feel for how much this guy really knows. And something that I could show that I know what the heck I'm talking about. So I noticed that, of course, a steakhouse, they were great. They were a large Idaho Fresh baked, and they were using 80 count. But also on the menu, they had 2 different other potato deals. One is they had a hash brown, and the other is they had a potato casserole. So when the guy came and, he oh, well, so you think you're going to save me money kind of thing. Yeah, okay, great. So he goes, all right, with my produce, I get it at, and he throws out a number on how much he pays per case. Okay. And honestly, it was a decent deal, you know. Hey, could anybody get that deal? Yeah, but all right, I wasn't gonna stick his nose in it. So okay. And so he says, well, let me ask you something. This potato on the menu, is it an 80 count? He goes, oh yeah, we only use 80 count Idaho, but okay. Well, I'm curious on the casserole and the hash brown. We process those ourselves. Oh, terrific. Which potato do you use? And he was like, well, I use the 80 count Idaho. 80 count Idaho. I said, well, you know, if you bought a number, now back then they used to have a number two utility. I can't seem to find it now. So I think this number two product is as close as you're going to get. And it would save you, you know, 20, 30, 20%. Oh, he got all huffy. You know, believe it or not, I never got paid for that gig. But anyway, so this would save you like 26.6%. So if you're going to be making some stuff like, as I said, hash browns or a potato casserole, some units actually do their own French fries, etc. Don't use the size product. Okay, well, that's it for us for this week. We're not going to do the Let's Get Personal segment. I kind of went overtime on the main segment, but all right. Well, we'll have a fresh new video out next Monday. All right, thank you. If you enjoyed this one, I really appreciate you hitting that like button, and we'd love to see you subscribe. Okay, well, thanks again. Talk soon.